And there is no such phrase as over the top. It's a place where talk is cheap.
Oh, righty then.
And action speaks louder than words. Here at the intersection of mirth and madness, you'll find Jim Carrey. Start with one Jerry Lewis, mix in all three Stooges, and sprinkle on a little Peter Sellers, and you start to get the picture. A comic combustion engine poured into an elastic frame with a rubber face.
Okay.
It has been years since we've seen this sort of insanity, and judging by the numbers, we needed it. Carrey did Ace Ventura: Pet Detective for $350,000.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Pet Detective.
The Mask for $450,000.
I did it, you hear? And I'm glad. Glad, I tell you.
Dumb and Dumber for $7 million. We're talking serious upward mobility here. He's the only star in history to have 3 films that grossed over $100 million in 1 year. But more amazing is the fact that most people had never even heard of Jim Carrey just 1 year ago. He's Canadian, born in Toronto 33 years ago. He was the second funniest person in the Carrey household. The first, he says, was his father. They called him Jimmy Jean the String Bean, all bones and teeth, one of which was chipped while playing hockey.
My name is Jim Carrey. I'm a singing comic impressionist.
He has been a stand-up comedian since he stumbled out onto a Toronto comedy club stage at age 15. In 1981, he made the time-honored pilgrimage to L.A., where he stunned audiences by being able to do offbeat impressions purely through facial expressions and body language. Here he does James Dean, Henry Fonda, and Charles Nelson Riley. But he wanted to be a star, not just impersonate one. So he took a chance, threw out his act, and started all over.
Now, here's another all-too-common danger in the classroom.
And when he was cast as the only white guy on the counterculture Fox hit In Living Color, things started looking up. He created some of the show's most memorable characters, including the accident-prone pyromaniac, Fire Marshal Bill.
Everybody remain calm! I am a fire marshal! Yeah! One-man entrance!
And Vera DeMilo, a bodybuilder of dubious gender.
Oh, baby! She is hard as a rock. Magnificent!
I will help you solve the greatest riddle of all. Who is Batman?
The antics have paid off. In director Joel Schumacher's upcoming film, Batman Forever, Carrey has the choice villain role of the Riddler. Like his other pictures, he has thrown himself into the part with complete abandon. About the only thing that hasn't worked out for Jim is his marriage. He and Melissa Womer separated in 1993. They have one daughter. He has since been seeing his co-star from Dumb and Dumber, Lauren Holly. He has just bought this LA home. It centers around a cascading waterfall that culminates in a swimming pool. And it seems to reflect Jim's casual lifestyle, except that he didn't have anything to do with the decor. He bought the place fully furnished. And there are a few of the sculptures he created himself here and there. He's particularly fond of this one, entitled The Insomniac.
Bloody Mary is the girl I love. Bloody Mary is the girl I love. Come on, Barbara!
Every day, he can be found in his workout room with his trainer, Dion Jackson. He says the Riddler costume was virtually painted on, and he had to keep his weight down. All I can say is that should Jim Carrey ever choose to make a workout video called Thin and Thinner, it will sell.
Yeah, Sharon Stone didn't do this, did she?
But this wild man is not the real Jim Carrey. This is. Jim, you got $350,000 for Ace Ventura, right?
Yes.
$450 for The Mask?
Sure.
Sure. $7 million for Dumb and Dumber?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your asking price now?
I'm not really sure.
It's, I guess The Mask 2 is 10 million, and it's going from there. Maybe I should just set it right here.
Right now, what, okay, what
40.
40 a picture. That's it, folks. Match it.
That's
right?
it. Deal with it, or I'm retiring.
Let's go back a bit. Your father was funny.
Yeah, very funny.
Like you?
Extremely funny, funnier than me in many ways. I remember just wanting to be like him so badly when I was growing up.
Your father was a saxophone player, and then gave that up to be an accountant?
I know, it's like a bad Hollywood script, really. He basically, when they started having children, he had to, my oldest sister, he had to sell his saxophone to get her out of the hospital to pay the bill. But so from there, he became an accountant. He got a supposedly safe job, and I guess that was one of the biggest lessons for me growing up, is to watch my father and to, what he went through. He lost his job at a certain point when he was 51, and so it became clear to me that there is no safe living, there's no safe job. I might as well do what I want to do, because, if I get a degree and do some safe trade, something that's considered safe, I'm setting myself up.
After 35 years, he loses the job as the accountant. Then what?
Oh, gosh. Then we went through a strange period where we all worked together doing the same job. We were security guards, janitors.
The whole family were janitors?
If you'll pardon my English, I spent, 8 hours after school scraping pubic hairs off the urinals. And it was not a happy time. I became angry, just getting angry at everybody, and at a certain point, the whole family, I dropped out of school. At a certain point, the whole family sat down and said, we're turning into monsters, and we're not this. And so we decided to just leave that situation with nothing to go to, really. So we went camping, basically.
So here you were, your mother, your father, brothers, sister, all of you janitors, and then one day you just walk out of the job.
Yeah.
And moved into a Volkswagen?
Yeah, we had a Volkswagen camper.
People won't believe this. They'll think you're putting me on.
I know, it's ridiculous. I don't like to make a big deal of it, but I guess at a certain, on a certain level, it did kind of, it was another one of those things that just make you go, well, maybe I'm meant to do what I'm meant to do,
At one point, or not at one point, because I hear you still do, you would be in front of a mirror and just make faces all the time.
Yeah. For me, it was so much fun to me to sit in my room and make faces and talk to myself in different voices and things. And I'd go, that looks like Sammy. Yeah, it is like Sammy, Yeah, he does that, and that, I'd just sit for hours doing that, and my parents were so worried. They would, they would say, my mother tried to scare me with the spiritual thing, It's just like, if you don't stop doing that, you're going to see the devil, that kind of thing. And I, of course, that, that just made me do it more. I mean, I got a lot of support from my parents. That's the one thing that I always appreciated, was that they didn't tell me I was being stupid. They told me I was being funny. That was the difference.
When you were 15, your father took you to a comedy club to perform.
Okay. My mother dresses me in a polyester suit, tells me, this is what all the boys are wearing, and sends me down there. My father helped me write my act, and I went down to the comedy club, and the owner of the club had this little thing that he liked to do where he would stand backstage with a microphone and all kinds of fun effects and, heckle new comedians. And so when I got up there, it was just horrendous. He was like backstage going, totally boring, totally boring, totally boring. They were playing, excerpts from Jesus Christ Superstar, like, crucify him, crucify him, crucify him, that kind of thing. So, when you go through a few of those experiences, you kind of develop a thick skin when it comes to being ridiculed or whatever.
Why didn't you give it up?
I couldn't. I mean, I don't have a trade.
Okay, then you start to do small clubs and so forth in Canada.
Yeah.
And now you go to the big time, Los Angeles.
Yes.
Right, where you're doing impressions.
I was doing impressions, yes. I was...
and doing well.
Doing great. I was... No, I mean, I did offbeat impressions, things like, I did this for Laura Dern just a little while ago. I did Bruce Dern, and it was like, oh, no. You're a real kind man, Mr. Anderson. Real kind! know,
not
that
you,
kind of-
yeah, you're not doing
your
Jimmy
usual
Stewart, and
thing, yeah.
I heard you do Sylvester Stallone.
That's about it.
Can you do Clint Eastwood?
Okay, well, I know what you're thinking. Did he take 6 shots or only 5?
Yeah.
It's terrific.
I was one of the more popular acts at the Comedy Store, but I was unhappy. I didn't like where it was going.
At that period when you were making it, doing the impressions, it was also a terribly difficult time for you privately, I read. Nightmares? Anger?
Well,
What?
yeah. I think I know what a nervous breakdown would be like to have at this point, because of that moment in my life when I was, you know, I had the parents living with me in my house, in the next bedroom.
They moved here with you?
Yes, they moved here with me for a while. I was trying to basically be the good son and be the lifesaver. You know, I was trying to be Elvis. You know, I bought you Graceland, Mom.
Yeah.
You know, and I finally realized that I was mad at somebody you haven't forgiven or whatever. And you know, at that point I sat down with my parents and I said, you know, I'll help you out, but I got to be on my own. You
How
know?
old were you?
I was, at that time, I was 19.
Kid.
Yeah.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, some years ago you wrote yourself a check.
Yes, I did. I guess it's like 6, 7 years ago now. I wrote a check out to myself for $10 million for acting services rendered, and
In 1990.
by Thanksgiving 1995. And I put it in my wallet and I carried it for that many years. And what happened was, basically a few months ago we did the deal for the mask for $10 million.
$10 million payment for doing the mask.
Right. Payment for doing the mask too, and so it's very surreal for me. It's strange. And I used to go up to Mulholland Drive every night, sit on the side of the road, look out at the lights, and go, you know, I'm a popular actor. I'm, you know, every director wants to work with me. And I used to like open my arms and imagine things, you know, things that I wanted to come in my way and stuff. And what I would do, it was a way of dealing with, you know, being completely out of work. Yeah. I would stay up there until I actually believed that I had all these things. And then I would drive down the mountain feeling like the biggest star in Hollywood, like I was working all the time, like the best people wanted to work with me. And I had my thing in my pocket, my little check in my pocket.
Jim, at the height of everything, your father died.
Mm-hmm.
Did your father know that you'd made this kind of success?
Yeah.
What did it mean to him?
I don't think he knew the magnitude of it, but he realized, you know, that I had reached my goal, that little thing in my pocket was realized.
That
He
check.
knew that I had made it. He knew that I had made it, and in fact, I put the check in with him in the casket.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah. Here we go.
I said I wasn't going to make you
Yeah,
cry.
damn you.
I promised I wouldn't make
Yeah.
you cry. I don't even know what to say now, except I know how much your father meant to you, and it must have been, in some strange way, symbolic that it happened now.
I think so. I think so. He saw that I'd done it, you know, you know, the thing that he had hoped to do, and the thing that he had hoped his whole life for me to do. You know, it was finality for him, because after my mother died, he, you know, kind of lost his spirit, you know, which happens with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was good to see. It was, I mean, you know, what can I say? My life is a fairy tale.
Hey sugar, you really got great gym sets.